Hey guys, welcome back for another episode of the Suited Shootist. Again, I want to welcome all the new subscribers. I cannot thank you all enough. I really do appreciate all the interest and kind of the new activity that's been generated over the last couple weeks. And so thank you. Again, thrilled to have you. Let me know how I can help. A couple things I want to touch on real quick before I get into the video. Some questions that I have for you. Number one, watch time. What can I do to be a little bit more engaging? Because that seems to be where I'm losing some folks. So if there's something that I can be doing better, please let me know. I'm still figuring this all out. I welcome any and all feedback. So by all means, if you've got an idea, I'd love to hear it. Aside from that, this is kind of a momentous day because it's now 2 years that I have been doing the Suited Shootist. First year was full stretch as a blog. This is kind of my first full year doing it on video. So happy birthday to me, I guess. Definitely come a long way since then. If you're interested, you can go back and look at some of the very first video. Please don't go back and look at the first videos. There's a lot of work I need to do to update those. But regardless, what I wanted to touch on today is something that kind of ties in to the video that I did on social friction. And it's the idea of ambient social temperature. On its surface, it's kind of self-explanatory, but it also warrants digging into just a little bit, and I will do my best to kind of make this as brief as I can. So the idea being, anywhere you go, there is a default level of volume, body language, actual language being used, etc. For example, you're not going to find the same conduct at a football game that you are at a white tablecloth dinner, most of the time. So the reason why this is relevant is because of the fact that you hear all the time, oh, well, you got to keep your head on a swivel, you got to live in condition yellow or orange or whichever color you are subscribing to that happens to match what you're wearing that day. But the point is that the idea of being able to perpetually live in that type of heightened state of awareness is not only exhausting, but it's logistically almost, if not entirely, impossible. So what I find to be kind of a little useful hack to all of this, and by all means, this is not original material, this is just kind of the way my brain quantifies it, is with that ambient social temperature. The idea being that, for example, if you work just in a regular corporate office environment, you tend not to hear a lot of loud noises. There's generally not a lot of elevated voices, and there's generally not a lot of, bangs, thuds, and stuff like that. So what that then suggests is if you find yourself hearing elevated voices or strong language or something that deviates from whatever that normal template is, that is what should then kind of elevate your alertness and elevate that state of awareness for you. The same thing applies even when you are in higher risk environments. I have a friend of mine who talks about when he first started working security at a bar, when he literally first started his very first gig, he was jumpy to the point where a pool cue hitting the floor would kind of make him start. And it was just because he was fresh out of being an MP, and he had that Cooper color code drilled into his brain, and so he was just that hyper vigilant, a threat could come from any direction, kind of looking for Kato type of thing. As it developed, he realized that, there's certain loud noises that you can expect in a bar. Drop pool cues, breaking glass, etc., etc., etc. It's being able to identify when things are outside the template of normal, where it really starts to become useful information, because especially if you had the good fortune to take Dr. April's coursework, he talks about the fact that, and I really hope I'm getting this right, please correct me if I'm not, a majority of what the brain is doing is just deciding what it can ignore more than anything else. And that is where being in tune with that ambient social temperature becomes useful, because it allows you to more readily dismiss more useless information to then be more finely tuned to when that novel stimulus comes in. It's a very thin piece of the puzzle, but I definitely think it's one that's relevant, because I've found it useful myself. When I was earlier on in this whole development of self-protection and all that, in general, I did not like being in large crowds of people, just because it gave me anxiety. Partially because I was not nearly as trained as I am now. Not to say that I'm that good right now, but definitely way better than I was 5 years ago. And in the same vein, I wasn't necessarily as confident in my skill sets, because up to that point I hadn't really pressure tested anything. So I didn't have any validation of what worked. And so because of that, these large social situations where I was just decidedly not in control made me very anxious. It's not so much anymore. I mean, yeah, you're not necessarily going to catch me going to large stadium concert venues, but that's not solely because I'm worried about the ninjas dropping out of the ceiling kind of thing. High level, that's kind of what I wanted to touch on with the ambient social temperature. Like I said, it's just a very brief high level, and it dovetails into what I was talking about with the social friction. So let me know what you think on it. I'd be interested to hear y'all's thoughts. A couple of other really cool developments are that I am in the process. I'm just waiting on the Patreon page to get approved. So once that goes live, I will be sure to let everybody know, as well as I'm working on a new logo design. This is what I've got in the works right now, and just for fun, I think I'm probably going to get a couple packs of stickers with it on there. If nothing else, just to kind of memorialize the development of it. But take a look. Let me know what you think. If you have any suggestions, tweaks, adjustments, thumbs up, thumbs down, let me know. Speaking of, if you're getting use out of the video, I really appreciate giving it a thumbs up. Thankfully, I haven't gotten a ton of thumbs downs. If you're going to do that, at the very least, let me know what you didn't like about it, so that way I can tweak the material a little bit and possibly make it a little bit more useful for more folks. If you haven't already, join us over on the Facebook at Bespoke Solutions. And aside from that, hope everybody has a great week. Stay safe and stay sharp.